If you've posted something this week and checked how many likes it got more than once, this psychology fact is about to expose something you've been avoiding about yourself. You know that feeling when you post something and nobody reacts? That sinking anxiety in your chest? That's not normal social behavior. That's your brain revealing how dependent you've become on validation from people who barely know you. And here's what psychologists have discovered. The more you post, the weaker your sense of self actually becomes. Let me show you what's really happening inside your mind. But here's the part that's going to make you uncomfortable. You already know this is true. You just haven't wanted to admit it. Every time you post something and wait for likes, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical you get from drugs, gambling, and junk food. And just like those things, you're getting addicted. Psychology says you're not posting because you're confident. You're posting because you need proof that you matter. You need strangers to confirm that your life is valuable, that you're attractive enough, successful enough, interesting enough. And the cruel part, the more you post seeking that validation, the less satisfied you feel, because you've trained your brain that your worth comes from external approval, not from within. And this explains why you feel so exhausted by social media, but can't stop using it. Let me ask you something honest. When was the last time you enjoyed a moment without thinking about how it would look online? When you were at dinner, are you present? Or are you thinking about the angle, the lighting, the caption? When something good happens, is your first thought, I'm so happy, or I need to post this? Here's what's happening psychologically. You've handed control of your happiness to an algorithm and a crowd of people who are also desperately seeking validation. Researchers call this privacy orientation. But let's be real about what that means for you. The people who don't post, they've kept control. They decide when they're happy. They decide what matters. They decide their own worth. You've outsourced that decision to your phone. Your brain thinks posting connects you to your life. But the reality is, it's disconnecting you from actually living it. But here's where it gets really painful. You don't even know who you are anymore. Psychology research on self-concept clarity reveals something terrifying. The more you post, the less clear sense you have of who you actually are. Think about it. When you're choosing an outfit, are you thinking, do I like this? Or will this look good in photos? When you're planning a trip, are you going where you want to go? Or where your followers will be impressed by? When you're having a conversation, are you being authentic, or are you already thinking about how you'll caption it later? You've become so focused on how your life looks from the outside that you've lost touch with how it feels from the inside. And here's the part you need to hear. Every time you post seeking approval, you're teaching your brain that other people's opinions matter more than your own. You're weakening your internal compass. You're training yourself to measure your worth by metrics that don't actually reflect your value. The people who don't post, they know who they are. They know what they value. They know what makes them happy, and they don't need your like to confirm it. But you've made your self-esteem contingent on people who are scrolling past your life in 2 seconds. Your mind thinks you're expressing yourself. But the reality is, you're performing for an audience that doesn't actually care. Most people stop here and keep scrolling, and that's why nothing changes, because this next part reveals why you're actually anxious all the time. Let me tell you about 2 types of self-esteem, and you need to be honest about which one you have. Secure self-esteem. Your confidence doesn't change based on external feedback. Criticism doesn't destroy you. Praise doesn't make you. You just know your worth, regardless of what others think. Contingent self-esteem. Your confidence rises and falls based on how people react to you. One viral post and you feel on top of the world. One ignored story and you spiral into self-doubt. Now be honest, which one do you have? If you're posting constantly, if you're checking your likes obsessively, if you feel anxious when people don't engage with your content, you have contingent self-esteem. And here's the harsh truth. That's not confidence. That's dependency disguised as self-expression. Studies show that people with contingent self-esteem experience higher anxiety, more approval-seeking behavior, and less focus on real goals because they're so busy managing their image that they're not actually building their life. Meanwhile, people who rarely post, they have secure self-esteem. They don't need to announce their achievements. They don't need to prove their worth. They don't need you to see them to feel whole. That's the difference between you and them. They've built their confidence from the inside. You're still trying to build it from likes and comments. Your brain thinks posting proves you're confident, but the reality is needing to post proves you're not. But here's where people really mess this up. You think you're being authentic, you're not. Here's a question that's going to expose something uncomfortable. When was the last time you did something meaningful and didn't tell anyone about it? When was the last time you helped someone without posting about it, achieved something without announcing it, had an amazing experience without documenting it? Psychology has a term for what's happening to you. Internal Locus of evaluation. It means you judge yourself by your own standards, not other people's reactions. And if you're being honest, you've lost that. You're not making choices based on what feels right. You're making choices based on what looks right. You're not living for yourself, you're living for an audience. You choose restaurants because they're Instagram worthy. You craft conversations that will sound good in captions. You edit your emotions to fit a narrative. And over time, you lose touch with who you actually are. You become a performance, a highlight reel, a carefully curated version of yourself that even you don't fully recognize. The people who don't post, they're having real conversations without wondering if they should screenshot them. They're going places they genuinely want to see, not places that will impress their followers. They're building real intimacy, the kind that doesn't need an audience. You think you're being authentic, but the reality is, authenticity and performance are opposites. The moment you start curating your life for likes, you stop living it for yourself, and this is why you feel so inadequate all the time. Most people stop here and keep scrolling, and that's why nothing changes, because this next part reveals why you're actually anxious all the time. Every single time you open social media, your brain is subconsciously measuring your life against everyone else's, their vacation versus your vacation, their body versus your body, their relationship versus your relationship, their success versus your success. And even though you know it's fake, even though you know it's filtered, edited, curated, performed, your brain still compares, and you still feel like you're not enough. Psychologists call this social comparison theory, and it's destroying your mental health because you're not just consuming content, you're consuming evidence that everyone else's life is better than yours. And then, here's the truly insane part. You try to compete by posting your own highlight reel, which makes you feel even more fake and inadequate. It's a cycle, and you're stuck in it. The people who don't post, they've opted out. They've chosen peace over performance. They've chosen their mental health over their online presence. Studies show they report lower anxiety, higher life satisfaction, and stronger real relationships because they're not constantly performing, they're not constantly measuring, they're not constantly seeking proof that they're enough. They already know they're enough. But you've made your worth relative to everyone else's performance, and that's why you can never feel satisfied because there will always be someone with more likes, more followers, more validation than you. Here's the painful part. If you can't go a week without posting, you're not sharing your life. You're medicating your insecurity with validation. If that hit you, good, because you're ready to hear what you actually need to do about this. Here's how you break free from this psychological trap. Step 1. The 30-day posting fast. Stop posting for 1 month. Not because you're hiding, because you're recalibrating. Notice how you feel. Do you feel anxious without the validation? Do you feel invisible? Do you feel relieved? That emotional response will show you exactly how dependent you've become. Step 2. Build your internal validation system. Every single day, write down one thing you did that made you proud, something nobody else saw. Maybe you had a great workout. Maybe you helped someone quietly. Maybe you learned something new. Train your brain to recognize your own worth without needing likes to confirm it. Step 3. Practice invisible wins. Do something meaningful this week and don't tell anyone. Go on a hike and don't post it. Have an incredible conversation and don't screenshot it. Achieve something and don't announce it. Learn to find fulfillment in the experience itself, not the performance of it. Step 4. Audit your feed ruthlessly. Unfollow every single account that makes you feel inadequate, every fitness model, every luxury lifestyle account, every person whose life makes you feel like yours isn't enough. If scrolling makes you feel worse about yourself, you're consuming poison. Stop. Step 5. Ask yourself the real question. If social media disappeared tomorrow, what would actually matter to you? That answer is your real life. Everything else is performance. Start investing in what actually matters, not what looks good online. Here's the mental shift that changes everything. The less you need to be seen, the more powerful your life becomes. Because you're living from authenticity, not performance. From internal worth, not external validation. So here's what you need to understand. You're not sharing your life on social media, you're outsourcing your self-worth to strangers and algorithms. And the longer you keep doing it, the weaker your sense of self becomes. The people who don't post aren't missing out, they're not disconnected, they're not hiding. They're just living for themselves instead of performing for you. Maybe it's time you did the same. The real question isn't, why don't they post? It's, why do you still need to?